Tour guide turned Iraqi army commander sees nationhood in victory. June 24, 2020. Tuan Emrat Naing, 41, leads the Iraqi army. While the world's attention is focused on COVID-19, war is brewing in the jungles of western Myanmar. The Iraqi Army, or AA, was formed just a few years ago by students, workers and farmers, but has learned the ruthless tactics of guerrilla warfare quickly. Maj General Tuan Emrat Naing, its commander, aspires to no less than forging a new nation. "My personal dream," he said, "is to see our national flag at the Olympic Games and to hear our national anthem sung." From just 26 armed men in 2009, the AA now has more than 20,000 soldiers. Tuan Emrat Naing aims to swell their ranks to 70,000, which he hopes will be enough to tip the balance and kick the Tatmadaw, as the Burmese army is known, out of Rakhine State. Tuan Emrat Naing told Coconuts in a recent interview what it is that makes him lead the AA into battle. "I was meant to be a freedom fighter since I was in high school," says Tuan Emrat Naing, who at 41 has been instrumental in building the army into the fighting force it is today. Photo, Tribal Action Group courtesy That's Terrorism. In January 2019, the Burmese military officially designated the AA as a terrorist organization, and the government followed suit this past March after ceasefire talks broke down. President U Win Myint declared the group a danger to law and order, citing attacks against the military, police and security outposts that include allegations of torture and assassination. Evidence on the ground in Rakhine tells a different story. There, as in other areas of Myanmar, complaints portray the Tatmadaw like an occupying army. In May, witnesses said they saw soldiers enter the light car community before gunfire and flames broke out. Human Rights Watch estimated at least 200 homes were put to the torch, much in the same way Rakhine's ethnic Rohingya villages were destroyed. The Major General said that many ethnic groups, including his own, the Rakhine, are racially targeted by the Burmese military, and says the AA tries to protect the civilian population. Myanmar Army uses helicopters, fighter jets against civilians in Rakhine. "These are our people, our blood. So we want to protect them, and we are sad to see people get killed by indiscriminate artillery bombardments and arson attacks by the Burmese military," he said in the Clear American accented English he learned as a tour guide. "Our troops never stay in the villages. We have our positions in the jungle. But whenever the Burmese lose a fight, they go into the villages and attack the people. That's terrorism," he added. Civilians have been dying in the fighting, however. In April, a United Nations worker was killed while transporting COVID-19 test samples. Both sides blamed each other for his death. Last month, the Tatmadaw said it would discipline soldiers filmed beating captives aboard a boat. Human Rights Watch found about 200 burned buildings in Rakhine's Letkar community on May 18. 2 days after the same satellite imagery found no such damage. Image Human Rights Watch Planet Labs. Human Rights Watch found about 200 burned buildings in Rakhine's Letkar community on May 18. 2 days after the same satellite imagery found no such damage. Image Human Rights Watch Planet Labs. Whereas other regions comprising Myanmar's ethnic Melange have been fighting for independence for decades, Rakhine's independence movement is relatively young. It's where the Rohingya Muslims lived until they were brutally driven from their homes and into Bangladesh 3 years ago by the Burmese army. Unlike the Rohingya, the Iraqi army is predominantly drawn from the majority Rakhine Buddhist population. The AA has started to make gains. The AA has attacked Burmese naval patrol boats, military convoys, and an army base in the former Burmese capital Mandalay, where there were many casualties. But in recent weeks there have been vicious reprisals, and the Tatmadaw has targeted civilians, predominantly the Rakhine, with attacks some observers say amount to genocide. In scenes reminiscent of the brutality unleashed against the Rohingya in 2017. Men have been decapitated and women raped as their villages burned. HLA Yinu, a refugee from Kayak Township in Rakhine State, told Coconuts the Burmese military had ransacked her village. Report accuses Myanmar military of ongoing war crimes in Rakhine State. The Myanmar army bombed my village with jet fighters 4 or 5 times a day. Then when the soldiers turned up, they stole our possessions and abducted some of the villagers. I had tour guide turn